I lost my Red Bull and I can't do this video without my caffeine. Alright, I got it. It's actually Red Thunder from Aldi, but it's okay. We're literally in the middle of January and I haven't done my 2024 recap of all the books that I've read. So I'm going to make this bed and hide this mess and then we're going to get into it. Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel where the coffee is strong, the laundry baskets are full, and my Goodreads challenge is close enough. Today we are finally recapping my 2024 Goodreads reading challenge because what better way to reflect on the year than by admitting that I didn't quite finish what I started. We listen and we don't judge. I had a roller coaster of a year and I read what I could. I'm not gonna lie though, my TBR is actually a lot bigger than it was when I went into the year, and I swore I was gonna be knocking that down and I did not. Let's chat about some of the books that I did read this past year. Beginning of the year, I set a goal to read 60 books, and then a little bit about halfway through the year, I revised that to 50 books when I realized that all the novellas in the world were not going to help me hit that goal of 60. Now, meanwhile, keep in mind I did have a baby early, and it was a traumatic situation leading up to her delivery, and then once she came out, and I took a few months off of reading altogether. I was able to finish 40 books, which, I mean, it's a solid effort. It's not about the number of books you read, it's about the emotional damage that these books have caused along the way. What are you looking at? You caused a lot of emotional damage too, my love. Let's start with some Bridgerton drama because Julia Quinn really had me in a chokehold this year. I spent 2024 pretending I lived in the Regency era, which, to be honest, is a lot better than the current state of our nation. I randomly picked up the first book in the series, and then I fell in love, and then I binged on the TV series, and then by the time I was done with all of the TV, I was hooked, so I read the second, and then the third, and then the fourth. First is The Duke and I. Make it bigger? No. Alright. So this is the book that started it off. It's where Daphne Bridgerton fakes a relationship with Simon, who is the very handsome Duke of Hastings. Obviously, lying to everyone you know is the fastest way to fall in love, so spoiler alert, it works. Stolen glances, unresolved tension to power a long city. It's basically the Regency era of a rom-com, minus the bad Wi-Fi and awkward dating apps. So, the Viscount Who Loved Me follows Anthony Bridgerton. And Anthony's story could also be known as How to Fall for Your Fiancé's Sister, or Anthony, who, by the way, in the show is played by Jonathan Bailey, who is making waves right now with Wicked. He's handsome. And the big kid says that I have a strange taste in men, but clearly not. Clearly not, my child. Yes, the little child has an oyster shell. Yes, you. Anthony is the oldest. He has enough baggage to carry his horse-drawn carriage. Kate Sheffield in the book, as opposed to Kate Sharma in the TV series, is the only woman in all of the time who is not impressed by his whole Viscount in charge vibe. Naturally, they spend the entire book arguing and bickering, and then they're kissing. It's enemies to lovers, which, if you're into that trope, it's perfection. It is worth noting that it is very different than the show. Number 3 in my Bridgerton binge is Offer from a Gentleman. Now, this one is Cinderella and Regency gowns and questionable parenting. It follows Benedict, who is Prince Charming, and then Sophie Beckett is the illegitimate daughter of a nobleman who is forced into the servant life by her evil stepmother, Cinderella. Julia Quinn doesn't just write romance, she writes fairy tales with a better dialogue. So Benedict spends most of the book pining for this mystery woman that he danced at the masquerade ball, even though she's literally right there, but who doesn't love a mysterious reveal? Book is set to be the upcoming season of the show, so of course I will be watching. Finally, we have got Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This is Colin and Penelope's story, so it is the slow burn that we all saw coming, but we were still screaming over when it finally happened. The alternate title for this one would be When the Wallflower Finally Wins. It's witty, it's romantic, it gives us everything we wanted after yelling at Colin through the first 3 books to just notice her already. 4 books down, and yes, I will absolutely be finishing this series this year because I'm invested now. And I need to know who every Bridgerton ends up with and Lady Whistledown ever takes a day off. So if you're looking for swoony romances with just the right amount of scandal, these books have got you covered. And bonus points if you read them in pajamas while pretending to be a duchess. The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn. This one's for the history buff, so anyone who likes reading about badass women in male fields, this is for you. It's based on the true life story of Lyudmila Pavlichenko, who is a Ukrainian librarian turned deadly sharpshooter. So Diamond Eye was the first book I read in 2024. After I read like 3 or 4 Kate Quinn books in 2023. Mila starts off as a single mom who's just trying to survive, and then she ends up becoming a literal war hero with 309 confirmed kills. And that's before she got dragged into international politics and became besties with Eleanor Roosevelt. It's gritty, emotional, and it makes you wonder if you're doing enough with your life. Next up, we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That was the last book I read, so I thought that was a good thing. You know, the first book I read in 2024 and the last book of 2024. So this is the last book of 2024. This book had me questioning whether I would survive eternity or just get bored and start reorganizing the shelves. Addie LaRue makes a deal with the devil or the darkness or something, and she ends up immortal. But then she is completely ghosted by humanity. So everyone she ever meets or sees or anything, she just gets forgotten instantly. And it's haunting and it's beautifully written and it's kind of perfect if you feel kind of moody and unsettled. Moving on to Twisted Love. Oh, Twisted Love is the book that proved therapy might actually be cheaper than falling for broody men with dark secrets. And I actually just saw that this book is being turned into a Netflix series, so hang tight for that. It is angsty, spicy, full of drama. It's perfect if you need some chaos in your romance. Twisted Love took me on an emotional roller coaster. It's a steamy romance. It has super complex characters, unexpected twists. It really kept me hooked. It's not super realistic. It had quite a few moments that I was like, this would never happen in real life. But I was really invested, so it didn't let me down. One of my absolute favorite books that I read this year was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby von Pelt. So this was the book that made me cry over an octopus. It's an octopus. It's heartfelt, it's funny, it's kind of weird, but in the best way. Remarkably Bright Creatures is a heartwarming tale that intertwines the lives of a widow and a giant Pacific octopus at an aquarium. It's really unique. It's a fun perspective because it's through the eyes of an octopus, half of the book is. And the storyline is really cute too. It's a really unique standout read. So if you ever want to feel emotionally connected to marine life, this one's for you. Now let's talk thrillers. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This book messed with my head. It's creepy, it's twisty, it made me double check my doors were locked when Ryan was on duty. It is a psychological thriller. I still have no idea what actually happened. I don't know what's true. None of it happened. What happened? I don't know. It's still haunting me in the back of my head. The plot is so unexpected and there's so many twists. I couldn't put it down. I loved it. It messed with me. I still don't know what happened. I don't know. And it still haunts me. It haunts me. Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride was a really long and slow read. I wanted to DNF it more than once. It's a historical fiction with heart. It's really beautifully written. There's complicated characters. The story sticks with you after you finish. Like, I still think about it all the time. This book explores the value of community, race, history, and there are some scenes that are a little bit triggering. They stop like just before they need a trigger warning, but there's definitely some scenes that are difficult to read. So this is your warning now. It really is beautiful. There's a moderately happy ending, but it's also a difficult one. There are a bit too many side plots to keep the book straight. That's why it's a little too hard to read, but overall I liked it. And finally, the last book we're going to chat about today, I think, is going to be The Teacher by Freida McFadden. Now, Freida McFadden is one of the top authors right now. She's very popular, so I had to touch one of her. This book is a dark, suspenseful read. It had me side-eyeing everyone, side-eyeing. But it was actually kind of gross, and the timeline didn't quite work out for me. So it was a compelling story. It got into the complexities of human behavior. It's sharp, it's fast-paced. It's just enough unhinged that it kept me like flipping pages at 2 a.m. It was super suspenseful. It was well-crafted characters. It made a memorable read. I'm still recovering, honestly. But it was weird. I didn't love it. You might. If you like any of her previous books, it falls right in line. So there you have it. A quick recap of just a few of the 40 books that I read in 2024. So if you have read any of these books, or if you're also slowly working through the Bridgertons, let me know in the comments, because I would love to hear your favorite reads of the books or any recommendations you have for 2025. And if you made it through this whole recap, congratulations, you're officially part of my unofficial book club. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for more bookish chaos and all of the mom life things too. Thanks for watching, and happy reading. Bye, guys.